This conference will now be recorded.
Okay. Hi, Ben. Can you hear me? Am I audible? Perfect. Let's wait for the others to join as well. Hello. Charles, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Sure. I can. Yes.
Right. Charles, you were asking me some questions yesterday about the Trojan attack to clarify those. Now, in some of the systems that I've had an experience of this problem with other students as well. So the solution for this, again, I don't know why it occurs. It is probably some of the Windows versions have this error. But again, this problem occurs when once you perform the Trojan attack on a system, you cannot perform it one more time again on the Beast application. So what you need to do is you have to create a restore point. So basically what I mean by restore points are, if I go to my Windows 7 system here, let's say the attacker machine. So before I perform the beast attack, so right now the only solution you would have is uninstalling this Windows 7, deleting these Windows 7 virtual machines. So manage and delete disk. So once you shut it down, you get this option to delete it from disk. And then once you reinstall it, you have something called creating a snapshot. Okay. So this isn't required for all systems, but unless and until you get this error, this is quite important. So you click on VM, and here you see there's an option called snapshot. Now snapshots are like your restore points, okay, where you can click on take snapshot, and what it does is it creates a restore point here exactly. Okay, so let me create a new restore point, let's say trial. Okay, creating a restore point on June 28th or something. Okay, now whatever I do on this machine, let's say if I delete something, okay, and if I make some changes to the system, or if I perform the Trojan attack or whatever it is, again, let's say I want to perform the Trojan attack again. Now I have to restore my system to that exact point of install before I initiated the Trojan attack. So you have to create a restore point before you perform the Trojan, and then after the attack is done, if you want to reinitiate it again, your attacker machine and both your victim machine should be reset back. So you go to VM snapshot and you can click on this trial, the snapshot that you just created, and when you click on that, you can see your system goes back to that exact restore point. So all the files you modified, everything comes back. As you can see, I have my share folder again, my beast trojan folder again, etc, etc. So I would recommend in a similar way you create a snapshot before the trojan attack, okay, just so that you can initiate it as many times as you want. And once you share the file to the victim, and once the victim clicks on it, the application will hide itself, so you can't find the application again. So when you share it in the shared folder, now copy it from there to the desktop in the victim machine. Don't execute it directly from the shared folder. If you execute it directly from the shared folder, it will execute in the attacker's machine because the shared folder belongs to the attacker. Copy it from the shared folder to the victim's desktop, and from the desktop then you initiate it. Okay, and after you initiate it, it will definitely hide itself. You cannot find the purpose of the application. When you select melt server on install, it hides the app. Okay, so it will definitely hide itself. But to reinitiate the attack, you need to create snapshots. You need to restore back the system to that certain snapshot before the attack if you want to replicate it multiple times. Is that clear, Charles?
Yes, that's okay. It's understandable.
Right.
I can hear.
Perfect. Okay. Terribly sick today with a sore throat. Okay, let's get started, guys, without any further ado. I'm going to take a slightly shorter session today. I'm having a kind of a sore throat. But again, we were talking about Wireshark in the last class. Let's continue on that. So if you remember, I've shown you that Wireshark can be used to monitor the network for attacks, but I've not shown you how hackers can also use it to capture your credential information. So let me show that as well. So I'll open up my Wireshark here, capture, options, select the Wi-Fi adapter. That's the adapter on which I want to capture the traffic. Click on start. And now you can see it's capturing the data. Now let's say someone in your network visits a website which is unencrypted. So if I go to my browser, and in my browser, if I search for some unencrypted website, it's php.oneweb.com, let's say this is an intentionally vulnerable website. Okay, and if I click on login, sign up or login or whatever. Okay, so let's say there's a login page here. And if I enter any credentials here, let's say ben123@gmail.com, and password, let's say Charles 12345. Okay, and if I click on login here, you can see these credentials are sent from my browser to the website here. Why did I save the password? Anyways, now once that has been sent, if you notice, this page is not secure, it's not encrypted. Okay, so your Wireshark tool is capable of capturing that traffic as well. Okay, it can traffic all sorts of traffic, but so it can capture all sorts of traffic, but when you talk about unencrypted traffic, you can actually see it in plain text data. Okay, now the filter to use to capture HTTP traffic is, if I stop this, I can run a filter here, HTTP dot request dot method. This is a filter available in Wireshark to capture all the requests made using the HTTP protocol. Okay, so there are two types of requests. There's something called as a GET request, or there's another request called, a type of a request called method called POST request. HTTP dot request dot method equal to POST. What I'm doing here is I'm telling the Wireshark tool whatever requests it be that are made in the HTTP protocol, whether it be with the GET method or the POST method, show me both sorts of requests made from browsers. Okay. Now, what is this GET request? What is this POST request? We'll talk about that later in the web application pen testing class. Okay. But these are the two methods that the browser sends data to the web server. It can either send it in the GET method or the POST method. Okay. And what I'm telling my Wireshark here, what I'm telling my Wireshark here is to get the data from both the request methods. So now when I click on go, you can see it shows all the requests made from my browser. Okay, and wherever you see a login page, you can right click on that. So here's a login page here, login.php. There's one over there, there's one over here. Okay, just trial and error. Right click on that request, click on follow, click on HTTP stream, and you can see over here it shows the data in plain text in the background in the packet content window. So this is what the data looks like when it is unencrypted, complete plain text data. Right click, follow HTTP stream, and you can see this is the request that was made. Okay, and these are the responses given by the website. And somewhere over here in these requests, you could have the username and password, and you can see over here in the testphp.oneweb.com page on the userinfo.php page, I send the username ben123@gmail.com. So this %40 is the URL encoding for the @ symbol, and password I entered was Charles12345. As you can see, your Wireshark is capable of capturing such data as well. Hackers could use the Wireshark in your same network. So when you're connected on public Wi-Fi's or airports or cafes or whatever it be, when if you're using a public Wi-Fi and if the website you're visiting is unencrypted, hackers can run Wireshark in that network and try to capture your data the same way. Okay, they can get your usernames and your passwords in a similar fashion. Okay, it's always important to see to it that you do not connect to such Wi-Fi's and again or such Wi-Fi networks where you don't know who else is connected in that network. Secondly, if there's no choice, if you still have to connect to it, do not visit unencrypted pages. Okay, because unencrypted pages will always reveal your data in plain text as such. Okay, so this is what Wireshark can do. Both in the last class, we have seen how ethical hackers use it to capture and analyze traffic, and again, notice these attacks like Nmap scans. In today's class, I've shown you how to capture credentials as well as an attacker in a local network. Okay, is that clear, guys? Any questions? Charles, Ben, Wahab, Vamsi? Okay, I guess some of you might have joined late, guys. No worries. Again, all we were talking about is how to capture credentials using Wireshark. We'll be getting the recording for it anyhow. Moving forward, let's talk about a new topic today called DOS attacks. So that's the next attack that we'll be learning in the network pen testing module. So when you talk about DOS attacks, guys, we'll talk about it theoretically today and practically in the next session. So there are two sorts of attacks, one called DOS and there's one more called DDoS. Has anyone ever heard about these attacks earlier? Okay, no worries. So when you talk about DOS, it stands for denial of service attack. To explain this in a very simple way, it's all about an attacker overloading a server so that it is unavailable to access, okay, by other useful clients. Okay, now again, let me explain it with a diagram as well. So for example, let's say there's a server here. Let's say Amazon or eBay or whatever, www.amazon. Now, Amazon is an e-commerce website. Multiple clients might be accessing the website to buy certain things or to purchase certain products. So again, these multiple clients are connected to Amazon on a certain port number. So Amazon might be running on HTTP or HTTPS. So there might be a port here, 443 or, oh, sorry, delete that. So there might be a port here, something like 443 or 80, which is accepting these connections from the clients. So these are the clients who are, or the customers who are connecting to the web server of Amazon. Now what an attacker does is, so there might be an attacker here, and this guy now, rather than sending your normal traffic like these users, rather than making normal genuine requests, he now makes or initiates artificial traffic. Okay, and this traffic is not your regular traffic, it is overloaded traffic. So basically it contains large amounts of data in it, and that amount of data packets are very huge in number as well. Okay, so rather than sending normal connections like a user, he generates artificial fake traffic which is quite heavy on the server. Okay, and when the server is unable to handle these many requests from a certain user, what happens is the server usually crashes. And when the server crashes, the server is now unable to give its service, or it's going to deny the service, okay, to the actual clients. And that is called a denial of service attack. An attacker is trying to overload the server or flood the server with huge amounts of traffic to the victim server so that the victim gets overloaded and it crashes due to not being able to handle such huge amounts of data. And now when the server crashes, its services are suspended for the genuine users. So its services are denied to the genuine users, hence the name denial of service attack. Now in today's world, such an attack is not possible, guys. Your servers are capable of handling any amount of traffic from a single user as such. What is although still possible is DDoS, distributed denial of service attack. Now in DDoS, what happens is this is a combination of Trojan attacks and DOS attacks. Okay, so rather than there being only one attacker now, what the attacker does is he sends Trojan over the internet. He spreads a Trojan across the internet and he installs them, or again waits for people to install it. Okay. And whichever system installs that Trojan becomes a zombie for him now. It's a machine which is infected with the Trojan. So these are your zombies. So these are not your normal clients. These are zombies which are under the control of the attacker. So wherever the Trojan gets installed, whoever installs that Trojan across the internet, the attacker now has remote control to each of those devices. Okay. And through the zombies now, rather than initiating the attack himself, he now initiates the attack from the zombies. So whatever traffic initiated earlier from one singular system now initiates from multiple systems. Okay. So the attack is now amplified, I would say, or multiplied by the number of zombies he has control of. So rather than this traffic now, which was earlier coming from one singular device, now comes from multiple other devices, as you can notice. This is what a zombie does. Okay. Now, this is called a distributed denial of service attack. So rather than you initiating this attack from one single system, it is distributed across multiple zombies, and all the zombies perform the same task. Okay. And when the server now gets overloaded with traffic from multiple devices at the same time, there are much more higher chances for the server to crash. Okay. And this is called a DDoS attack. Okay. Let me show you the DOS attack as well practically today. We'll talk about at least DDoS in the next sessions. Okay. So there's multiple tools available for DOS attacks. So you can go to your browser, search for DOS attack tools, GitHub, get multiple applications on GitHub itself. There's Freak, Trino, UDP Flooder, Panther Firewall Killer. All of these are DDoS applications actually, as you can notice. Okay. But again, I'll be sharing this file myself anyhow, don't worry. So I have already uploaded it on my Google Drive. I'll be sharing that link. Now, first things first, I'll go to my attacker machine here and let me copy this file. You don't need to do all this. I'll be sharing the file directly to you anyhow. So as mentioned, there are these multiple tools available on the internet: Freak, Smurf, TFN, Trino, UDP Flood, etc., etc. These are all DOS attack tools. Okay, I'll be sharing one of these tools to you over the internet today, and you can use these to perform the attacks. Okay, so now in order to perform this attack, I'm going to send the traffic to my base machine itself, and to capture it, I'm going to use the Wireshark application. So I'll keep my Wireshark running here. I'll click on Start Capture. Continue without saving. I'll put this on one side. I'll put the Windows 7 attacker machine on the other side. So this is my UDP Flood application. It's a very simple plug and play application, guys. Run it as admin. No installation required. You can run multiple instances as well to get more packets if you want, as you can notice. Okay. So once you have the application here, you need to enter the target IP. My Windows 11 right now is, I think, 0.5. Yeah, 192.168.0.5. So I'll go back to the attacker. I'll enter this IP here. In real time, you can enter a domain name as well, and a website name as well. Specify a port number. Right now, my system, my base machine does not have any web service port. So I'll give a port number like 53 or something. Let's say DNS service port. Okay. Max duration, again, a large number of your choice. Anything of your choice. Let's say 999999. Okay. Here also a very large number, whichever is possible. Oh, sorry, my bad. Stop. So I can either type infinite as well here. Max duration, max packets, infinite. Speed of packets, I can just give maximum speed here. Okay, and I can either give random size packets here, or I can give a text data as well. So I can type some data here. Let's say DOS attack initiated. Okay, and now when I click on go, you can see it starts sending the traffic. And once that traffic initiates, if I go back to my base machine, you can see some black colored lines here and there. Okay, if I initiate one more instance, let's say 192.168.0.5, same port number, let's say 53, max duration 999999999. Okay, and I can give the same message here as well. DOS attack initiated. So I'm just replicating this one more time, running one more instance to get more packets. As you can see, now I should be getting even more packets. Okay, the packet speed has increased, as you can notice now. Okay, if I click on stop capture, if I scroll up, you can see every few seconds there's multiple malicious packets being received here. Okay, and no matter what packet you open up over here, follow UDP stream, because DNS is a UDP protocol. You can see the same message: DOS attack initiated, DOS attack initiated, DOS attack initiated. So this is what a DOS attack looks like, and the packets are still being still being captured. That's why the scroll wheel is slowly moving upwards, if you notice. Okay, so this is what a DOS attacks looks like. Okay, so the attacker is trying to overload the server with huge amounts of traffic, just so the server is kept busy and it is unable to respond back to the actual clients, and you're denying that service to the genuine users. Now you might ask me, what's the advantage of this? Frankly speaking, some attacks do not have any advantage. They can only just disrupt services as well. So here the attacker is not getting any profit in return. He's not getting any data. He's not getting any remote connection to any system, nothing as such. He's in turn just making the target system unreachable. He's just trying to disrupt services. So this is just a very notorious attack, which does not cause any benefit to the attacker, but just done out of mischievousness. Okay, is that clear? Ben, Charles, Wamsi, Wahab. Any questions? Wahab,
Yeah.
Wamsi. Yeah,
Um,
Ben.
would a load balancer be able to help a little bit?
Yeah, good. That's the solution actually. So it's a part of a solution to prevent these DOS attacks, load balancers, and some security measures other than that. So I'm going to talk about that in the next session. How do you prevent DOS attacks? How do you stop DOS attacks? An important step of that is a load balancing server. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
So that's the solution for it, to prevent these attacks. Okay, so yeah, that's that, guys. Nothing further for our session today. We'll be talking about DDoS attacks in the next session. I was supposed to take that today itself, but I have a bit of a sore throat, unable to speak much. And the season has changed here. So it's raining cats and dogs every single day here. So there's a viral flu. So yeah, that's that. Nothing further for that now. We'll be talking about DDoS attacks in the next session, along with the next part as well, called vulnerability scanning with Nessus. Okay. So coming to the end of the course, guys, we have hardly few more classes left, maybe 6 or 7 more important topics left out. So please practice all these topics on the go. As we progress over the weekends, whenever time permits, please perform these practically as well. Okay. I'll be sharing the recordings to you shortly in a while once I get them myself. Okay. Bye-bye. Good day. See you soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Sharp.